This is Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. We got a big guest on today. Coming at us,
sure do.
All the way from overseas, from London. I'm gonna do a little bio here. I think this will be good. We've got Jade Asha. She is born and raised in London. Jade is a multi-award-winning actor. She's now got 70 acting jobs under her belt, and she has taken this information and written what I hear is a great book, Actorpreneur A Working Actors Guide. Good morning, Jada.
Good morning.
I keep calling you Jada. We've got a Jada over here. I apologize. It's Jade. Hello, Jade.
Hi. How are you, Matt?
I am wonderful, wonderful. Good morning. Thank you for being on our show.
Of course. Well, good afternoon. Yeah, it's 2:00 here. So.
Okay. Yeah, we do the early morning thing. So it's 7 a.m. here, and we teach late night classes too. So the Friday morning is always like that's the craziest time.
Wow, well done.
So talk to us first before we get to your book about you a little bit and how you came into the acting world.
Well,
So we got a little internet disruption here. I can't hear anything, Joey. You hear anything there?
No. Did you? Is the channel turned up like all the way?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's frozen. I think we're frozen in the UK.
No, she's moving.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I can hear her.
All right. Can you tell us about how you came up in acting again? Let me see if I can hear this.
Yeah, so I started when I was maybe 15 years old. I wasn't particularly good at anything at school, and I went into my first acting class, and they gave us a scene from Blood Brothers, the musical. And that night I went home, and it was the first time I'd ever done all of my homework. And then I got back to class the next day, and no one else had even looked at it. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I like this more than anyone else. And then I went on and started doing Saturday classes. And then when I was 17, I moved to London. I was like, I'm going to become an actor. So I didn't know what I was doing. I just got some headshots done and started applying stuff online. And that's how I started, really, just finding my own work.
Wow, wonderful. So, and what about like your training? Have you been training? Are you ongoing as an actor working on your craft?
Yeah, I think the training always has to continue. Like, you've always got to be doing something and building, and you'll change as an actor. But yeah, so I started obviously in school, then I did it at college, and then I did the Saturday drama classes. And when I moved to London, I then did it was a year at a college again. So I'd already had like maybe 5 years of acting training. And then I really wanted to go to drama school, but I auditioned for 4 years. I kept on getting waiting listed. I didn't quite ever get in. So then I thought, well, you know what, I'm not going to let the training, not being able to get into one of these big schools, stop me. So I trained in stage combat and started making my own work there. A group of us, literally, we wanted to film our own scenes. We'd never done any film work before, and we hired a minibus, and we literally drove from London to Scotland, which was about 10 or 12 hours drive. We found a derelict castle on the edge of the sea, and we just camped there for 2 days and made a short film. And that was kind of my first introduction. But yeah, since then, I was terrible, by the way. I was like looking at the camera and laughing and falling over, and it was just a sham, but it was like really good lessons. So I have learned a lot on the go while on jobs, but here and there I've done classes like this, the Actors Centre in London, or I'll do, you know, courses, work with people, workshops. But mainly at the moment I'm concentrating on building accents and learning languages and skills.
Yeah, well, obviously you've got a beautiful British accent, but that is that one comes naturally. Do you have an American accent? I'm curious.
I do. Please don't ask me to do it. It's literally like my worst. Everyone laughs at me when I do accents every day.
That's hilarious because I feel the same way about your accent. So that's funny. All right.
Yeah, but in front of America, well, I went to LA and they were like, I was in a class full of people and they're like, can you do an American accent? I was like, don't ask me to do that.
That's great. Okay, so now you were nominated Best Actress for your role in The Intent on Netflix. Is that right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So that was an independent British film. It's on Netflix now, and yeah, it was a great project to work on. It was a very intense role. I actually was working on production at the same time. It was a friend of mine's film, and I was kind of doing a little bit of both. And I had all these scenes where I was crying, and it was real tears because it was such a tough shoot. We had a lot, like, the film is full of British rappers who weren't necessarily actors.
Okay.
And kind of at certain points I was in charge of getting them on set on time, and like honestly I was having breakdowns trying to get everyone to stay in the same place. But yeah, so it was real tears, but I learned a lot on that set about just really being in the moment and being genuine and using real life to get to that place.
I love that. That's great. You know, it sounds like and I've suspected this anyway. I've never been over there, but it seems like every market is pretty much the same. This industry, you know, people think it's so diverse and whatnot. It really is, I think, very, very similar. And I wrote about that in my book. As a matter of fact, I've had a few sales over there that the UK is the second highest selling place after the United States for my book. So I'd like to turn and get to your book, The Actorpreneur. What a great name for a book, by the way. We did brainstorming for books. If I'd have thought of it, I might have stolen it. That's a great name for a book.
I'd seen a few hashtags actually. It wasn't my baby, but I'd heard the name and I was a bit like, well, there's no other books out there, so I'm gonna nab that one because it is a great name. Yeah.
I love that. So tell me about your book. How did you get started writing a book? Because I know that's always it's always a question on people's minds. Like it's this big feat, and it really is. How did you get started with that?
Well, it was last year, and I was just going through a stage where I was like, right, I want to update my library a little bit. I want to get a few new books. And I saw that an actress that I hadn't worked with directly, but I kind of knew of, she'd written a book. And I kind of had all these ideas for the book that I wanted it to be this and that and the other. And then when I got it, she'd done something quite different. It was very creative and it was quite abstract. But then I realized, well, I really wanted something that reflected the British industry that I've learnt to battle with myself, and that was modern, that incorporated using things like social media, the internet, and especially now we're in lockdown and everything like that. It's like you kind of have to use the resources you have, and there are so many. So, and things like when I went to premieres for my films, there's no advice on, you know, how you should do things, what to wear, kind of how it all goes down, and it can be quite an intimidating experience when you go there and you've not done it for the first time. So there's all these things that I felt like I couldn't find, and even in doing intimate scenes, there didn't really seem to be any kind of advice on that either. So I really wanted to create something that had all these things that I was looking for, that maybe it would help someone else as well. So January, I just started writing out chapters, and then it was, I don't know, I just found it really easy because I talk about this stuff all day long. I've been in it for the last 15 years. So for me, just fill in the gaps. And it's just the hardest part was sitting down to write and going like, right, I'm writing now. Right.
Yeah, that's really neat. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of these subjects. I think this is fascinating. So first and foremost, what is your advice when you're going to a premiere?
When you're going to a premiere, I would say be very organized. You can use the photos to promote yourself a lot. Like I'm still using images that are 3 or 4 years old, but it's really useful for growing your online presence, because every day now people will, you know, if you find a new actor or creative, the first thing people will do is Google you. So it's just making sure your online presence is great, and going to premieres is a really good way of doing that. So things like making sure you look great. It's completely worth hiring makeup artists, working with stylists. You can get lent the clothes for free. I end up spending a lot on my first premiere. I think it was like £800 or something like that, or when it came to the clothes, the accessories, makeup artists, everything like that. You don't have to do that, so I kind of share ways to save the pennies a little bit here and there.
Yeah, okay. But that makes sense. So it's funny because I think we're gonna have a lot in common here. Here's the book that I wrote over here called "Acting is My Day Job: 7 Strategies to Market and Make Money as an Actor." And there's a part in no, I don't talk about premieres in general, so I love that. But there's a part in my book about branding, where I believe that you want to be very careful with your first impression, making sure that you're staying consistent. And from what I'm hearing from you, and this makes a lot of sense, you're going to go to this premiere and people are going to see you a certain way. For some people, this will be their very first impression of you. And so it's important that you're showing up in brand, showing up ready exactly the way you want to be presented, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And doing research as well, like how is that? How are things going to look? Like taking photos of yourself before you even go there. And then the premiere itself, just standard things, but things people need to remind of. Don't get too drunk. So, like all these just silly little things, but things that you just kind of need to be. It's very easy to lose yourself.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted, because these premieres don't happen every day. So don't be kind of all bougie and. Because it's easy to do, but yeah.
I love that she just used the word bougie.
Yeah, but it sounded so cool in the accent.
Yeah, for real.
So bougie.
I mean, everything does.
I know, Joe. It really does. All right, so
it doesn't work the same when you do.
What are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, no.
I'm desperate to be doing a good accent. Yeah. All right. So tell me. All right. So I'm loving all this advice here. So tell me, what's your take on doing an intimate scene then?
So it's not just about the intimate scenes, and that could be anything from holding hands to obviously full on scenes. You have to be comfortable. That is the main thing. You never do anything that you don't feel comfortable with. Everything should be pre-planned. I know that these days they do have intimacy coordinators, but honestly, for new actors, you're not always going to be on film sets where they can afford those. Mm-hmm. So just knowing how you can protect yourself and look after yourself and others, be aware of what should and shouldn't be happening. If you are going to do anything, nudity-wise or anything like that, then make sure that that's all agreed at contracting stage. They should never be able to turn around on set and be like, okay, this is the blowjob part. Like, that's not
right.
That's not allowed.
Yeah, I believe that there needs to be this line that you draw early in your career when you first start, and you say, this is exactly what I'm willing to do and not willing to do, almost like a contract with yourself up front. Because it's just like the premieres, this industry can have a lot of glitz and glamour, and you can get swept up into it very quickly. And so if you don't have a really hard line that exactly what you will and will not do, it can be difficult sometimes in the moment. Do you agree with that?
Definitely. And you don't have to make decisions quickly. You can take time to really think about it. But yeah, 100%. You have to figure out what you're here for, what you're doing, and set those boundaries.
So I think that there's the UK and London definitely has a history for great actors here in the United States. We've accumulated some of your best, I guess, and we've got a great respect for the actors that come from there. So I think that there is this idea in the United States as far as where to go to train and where to go to become a great actor, and London is one of the places that people talk a lot about. So for us over here in the States, what advice would you give if somebody were to want to make the trip all the way over there to train and to work as an actor? Because again, I think there's a lot of this misnomer that when you move someplace, because you live there, that there's going to be, like, you're automatically going to be more successful. And I have to tell people that's not the case at least here, if you move to LA, there's no guarantee. As a matter of fact, if you don't have any kind of like foundational work ready to go, if you're not training regularly, there's no chance. So so tell me, what is it like to move to move to London and to jump into that market? Like give us a feel for that.
So that's essentially what I did, because I wasn't living in London when I was 17 and I came to London. I kind of almost did that jump in a way. I just came down here and was like, well, I'll go to drama school. And really, there's maybe 12, which are the top drama schools. They do their 3-year courses. And then right at the end, you get the big showcase where you have all the amazing casting directors and agents. And that's really why people go to those schools, because they have the connections and the support. Even that itself does not guarantee success at all. There's a lot of actors will finish drama school, go into the industry and be like, oh, okay, well, I've been used to acting constantly for 3 years. This is not what I expected. And there's so many actors that it's obviously difficult for everyone. But there are other great courses that don't involve the whole 3-year procedure, but you might not get as good a showcase, but you will get some kind of showcase. And I'd say if you wanted to come over to London to do that, then be doing your research first and reach out. And a lot of the time you can audition overseas. So whether you have to go to somewhere else in America, because they might do auditions in New York or something like that for London, so you might not have to do that trip straight away. But the drama schools are not easy to get into. There are a lot of there's a lot of competition. You're not guaranteed to get into, but there are other ways. You just have to be proactive and just, you know, realistic, really.
Sure.
That's Isabel's main target for her college.
Oh, really?
She applied to all the ones in London.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a new intern over here, but been in the program a long time.
Yeah, and we've sent a few students over there, but it's interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
as we like kind of dive down this path, and yeah, I'm sure these schools are great, but think about this: how many people graduate every year from 12 different schools in London, and then of those, what percentage are working actors ongoing, and then of those, how many are like next level, even B-list actors? And you know, so I'm sure,
oh man,
you know, like Jade is probably more successful than many of the graduating actors, you know, like, so it,
oh yeah,
you have to have a grind underneath, you have to have a willingness to work, and like a, you know, so that's kind of what I'm getting at too.
I'm glad you answered your own question there, because I was following, but then you started doing math, and I hate math. I'm not very good at it.
Oh no.
And so then yeah, it just went downhill.
So Jade, tell us a little bit more about your book. Some more unique tips and tools we can take away.
Well, I have a copy here as well. Little pretty
oh, she pulled it out.
Beautiful. Love the artwork. That's great.
There it is. So I've got a few different things. So I've got like a guided visualization, which you it talks you through it in the book, but then you can go over to the website and listen to it, where I get actors to really think about what their end game is. So the whole guided visualization is where you kind of wake up in your home and you're 70 years old and you walk around your house, and who else is there and what does your life look like? And then you end up going in a room and there's all your achievements, and what is that? And the whole purpose of that is start thinking about what you really want out of life.
That's beautiful.
Do you want the big house? Are you more career driven? You know, what are you planning to do with your life? And then from there, just start working backwards and think of how you get there. So that's something that I felt was maybe a bit different that I wanted to put in there. It was very much mixing the business side of things that I know that I've worked on mindset things before, and throw that in there as well. I've got checklists. So I've got 4 different checklists, which I even found really helpful myself. I'm really terrible at learning lines, and I was going to an audition and I was in such a fluster because it's been my first one since lockdown. And I was like, oh, what do I pack? What do I pack? What do I bring with me? And I just went, oh, let me just grab a book. And I had a checklist, and I was like, I'll throw that in my bag. So I was kind of going through my lines and not really paying attention to what I was doing. So just little things like that. But it covers everything from starting out. So if you want to go to a drama school, if you should or shouldn't, because even the audition process can be very expensive. But then the training you have, you definitely need training. Like, no matter where you are in your career, there's so much to learn. And so it starts from there, and then we move on. I felt like it was a really obvious route. It moves on to getting your first job. I even talk about extra work. I don't think actors should do extra work, but if you've never been on a film set, you should definitely do it once and then probably never go again. So moving on to your first credits. And then I talk about auditioning, getting your agent, leaving your agent, making your own work, social media, PR, all these kind of things.
Excellent. That sounds amazing. I'm very excited. I will be buying your book over here. So I think when we first booked you, I wasn't sure that did we lose her?
You killed my segment.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joey.
We were gonna buy the book live.
Oh, well, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do
I'm
it.
not killing this.
Okay.
I will buy the book. Apparently, I
there
will
we
buy the
go.
book
right now,
very soon
Yeah.
here. So we're gonna demonstrate how we can find Jade's book here on Amazon. Is it available in the U.S.? I hope.
Should be, yeah.
Let's see.
All right, we're about to find out.
See if it works, actually. I was going to say,
And-
I'm just going to send you a book, but I can also send you a book, but I'm also interested to see
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So send us a book, and we'll send you some books. But I wanted to. I think this is a good thing because I can buy it, then we can review you and all that, and that always helps. But we
Okay, it does work.
There it is. Let's get the
why,
ball
why
rolling.
does it say $0?
Oh, for Kindle. For Kindle, it's $0. So
Oh.
we want to buy the paperback. So Jade, your website here is jadeashavoiceovers.com.
Yes.
Do you do a
So
lot
I
of
have-
voiceover work?
Yeah, I'm actually in my little studio now. Here's my mic.
Nice.
So this is my little booth. But yeah, so I started doing voiceovers about 3 years ago. It was always one of those things I thought, oh, I'll do it when I'm like not going to auditions. And then I thought, well, why wait? Like,
I'm gonna just be shameless here because this morning I hopped on and then I saw the black background and I was like, I couldn't tell if she was outside or like what was going on, but I could have swore that I looked up the time and it was gonna be afternoon there. And I was like, what time is it over there? Because that is such a cool setup.
it's literally in my attic. So I'm like, oh, and it's a bit cold, so I have to keep on turning the heater on between to now. So I'm like, oh. But yeah,
That's hilarious, doing voiceovers in the attic. See, that'd be a great story for your next book.
That could be her next book.
Voiceovers in the attic.
Voiceovers in the attic.
I like that.
seal that as well.
You know, that's okay. It's more borrowing. I feel like
Yes.
you borrow knowledge from each other.
All right, so we've got the Actorpreneur book. We can go to actorpreneurbook.com as well, and yeah, we would love to help support you. I'm hoping we get a little burst here in the U.S. and get a couple sales going your way. Let me think here. Where else are we gonna do this?
Oh, there we go.
You get it?
It's on our website.
Oh,
There we go.
perfect.
That works.
Well, let's purchase that thing, Joey.
We'll do.
Can
I'm
we
gonna
do that?
share screen
I love it.
so she can't see it. So this is her website, everybody. It's really dope.
So do you do
love
any teaching, Jade?
I don't know. No.
Maybe
I don't know what,
maybe one day you will. So the Jade Asha voiceovers is for clients to find you for voiceover work.
Yeah, so that's my around acting job at the moment, which is really lucky because I feel like, obviously you're acting still.
Yeah. Awesome. So how did you go about finding somebody to work on the cover for you?
Oh, so this was really great, actually. So when I was writing the book, I did a course. There's a guy called Rob Moore over here, and he's a business guy. And he did a course. I think he's written something like 18 books. And so he recommended his like publishing company. So I got in touch with them, and they kind of like had a nice package where they're like, okay, we'll sort it for you. And I was really scared because I don't know, I'm quite pernickety when it comes to designing and imaging and stuff like that. So I like to do I like to do it myself. I was like, oh, how's this going to be? And I sent them loads of cover designs of the kind of thing that I wanted. I thought, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be terrible. And then the first copy came, and I was like, oh, I actually love it. Oh my God, I was really, really shocked that I loved it so much. I really thought I was going to hate it. And then I started changing it and saying, try this, try that, but nothing kind of really stuck up to it. But then when I then put this cover next to all the books that I'd originally wanted, I still preferred this one so much more. So yeah, they went above and beyond.
Nice.
Someone called That's All I Know, but yeah, they were really good.
So you were working with a publishing company right away?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I got recommended them. They spoke to me. They liked the book that I was, they liked it, and they said they wanted to work with me. So yeah, it was.
How has that experience been for you? Because I made a choice to go self-published for my first book, but I'm about to release another one. So I'm curious. How's your experience working with a publisher?
It was really good actually, because they had their own team. So it was, I don't know, I just found the whole process easier rather than finding people working independently. I've lost the word now. But yeah, rather than looking for a copy editor, an editor, and then the designer, they just had everything in house, and I just had one person, and she dealt with everything, which was really just quite relaxing actually, and they turned it around really quick. And also it gave me pressure as well, because I knew I had that. I said 4th of November, like in June, and I hadn't even finished it yet, and I was like, we're just going to go to this date and see what happens. Yeah, luckily we did.
That's great. No, I like that. That's really neat. Because I definitely know what you're talking about. When you do self-publishing, you feel like you're trying to be a general contractor, and you have to hire all the individual pieces to make it work. But yeah, that's very cool. All right, well, good. Was there anything you want to leave us with here?
Thank you for having me. It's been amazing. And I'd love to know about how I can do one of your classes, or how I can tell people about your classes.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So our website is deeringstudio.com, and it's spelled DEARING, deeringstudio.com. And we've got all kinds of classes. As a matter of fact, we are international with our virtual program, which sort of came about because of COVID. We were already working on something, but then we were forced to go there. Now our in-person classes are completely full, but the virtual program, we kept that going for people during the pandemic. And so we had a student come in from Nigeria. We've had people from all over the U.S. And so, yeah, we'd love to have you in one of the classes. That'd be a lot of fun.
It would be at 3 a.m. her time. It would be at 3 a.m. her time.
How committed are you to taking an acting class?
Oh my gosh.
I will do a class at 3 a.m.
You will?
Yeah.
You will? You'll do one?
Yeah. I'll give it a go.
All right.
It might be in my pajamas.
All right. Then I'm gonna hold you to that. We're gonna put you in the program.
We've got a student from Nigeria who does the same thing. It's like 3 or 4 a.m. every time he comes to class. So great.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's like the program here loves him.
Yes.
His name's Paul Okologbo, and I think he took a couple months off because he's finishing his schooling over there. But yeah, no, he's like this wonderful guy. It's really interesting how now we can come together worldwide and build communities even over the internet. It's incredible.
100p.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a delightful guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm very happy for you and excited for your book. This is really, really incredible. Yes. Here, I'll give her a legit round of applause here. And I wish you all the best with your career and with the book. And let's hope we get these book sales going in the U.S., okay?
Thank you so much. Take care. Have a
All
lovely
right.
day.
Take care. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This has been Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share, help us spread this light-driven content to the planet. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.